Welcome to today, March 18th, 2024's edition of your planning board. This meeting will be recorded, broadcasted, and or rebroadcasted on WestfordCAT. At this point, we are short Dylan. He may call in. If that's the case, we'll take votes by roll call. We'll start, as always, with open forum. Start with Joe. Anything?
Just this Saturday, we'll have our annual town meeting right at Westford Academy, starting at 9 a.m. Check-in will start at 8 a.m. So if you're looking to be able to park on site, you might want to get there a little early. Otherwise, there is off-site parking being provided at the Robinson and Christofoli schools, and there will be shuttle service. Expect a big crowd, so please get there early, and otherwise we'll see you there.
Great. Jeff?
Nothing further to add.
Anybody on the board? Anything open forum?
Oh, nope. Sorry, why don't you go first?
No, I'm good.
I just didn't know, we sounded like we're gonna have at least a quorum of planning board members present at town meeting. And we'll reserve your usual seats in case you need to take a vote on something. Yep. But they do typically look for someone to, a planning board member to kind of summarize verbally the planning board report and recommendation. Customarily, it's the planning board chair. But also in this case, we have Joan, who's a member of the MCMAC committee and the Affordable Housing Trust. So I don't know how you folks want to.
Would you want to do it?
I'll be glad to. Yeah.
Right.
All right, that was easy.
Right.
Thanks. That's it for me.
Anybody on the board? Anybody in the audience? Okay, so our first general business item, PB 1923 73 Nutting Road, Wendell Place. This is continued from March 4th. Looking for approval for minor modification of the grading plans for the subdivision and grant a partial lot release on lot 17 for the purpose of constructing the model home. Good evening, Mr. Waterman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt Waterman with Lantec Consultants for the record. Here with me tonight is Jeff Heidelberg with Toll Brothers, sitting in the second row. Our last meeting was 2 weeks ago, your last meeting, which was to discuss the stormwater permit modification request. The Toll Brothers, as you recall, is doing their due diligence and was going through the process of kind of placing their largest footprint on the plot, and then, you know, making sure that the board and engineering in particular was comfortable with the changes, knowing full well that we'd be coming back with each individual lot. We have to prepare a stormwater plot plan that addresses the changes to the approved plan, whether they're larger, bigger, and kind of summarize the impervious areas. And all of that would be done on every single lot, regardless of what the modification outcome is. But we're doing this just to kind of make that, streamline that process down the road where there was significant changes to every lot. And with Joe's recommendation, you know, coming to the board and just kind of high level trying to make this modification to make things easier down the road. At our last meeting, we had to confirm some outstanding questions with the engineering department. We did submit updated information. Joe was kind enough to call me in the middle of last week and remind me and get me to get my stuff over to the engineering department. Engineering department looked at it quickly at the end of last week. They had a couple quick questions. 1 second. That's all right. Sounds like we got Dylan. I like how you put his name in front of it.
Hello.
Hey, Dylan. We just began. Mr. Waterman is giving his rendition of what's been going down. So welcome to the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Dylan.
Hello.
And we were just summarizing where we were from last week to this week, and that we had provided additional information. Engineering still had a couple of detailed questions that we were sorting out. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. We were juggling some of the issues today, trying to get it. They were out in the field. I know they had some site walks with Mass DEP or MassDOT, and Jeremy was out on Plain Road, and so they were very busy. Of course, it's springtime. But we do have all the information. We're requesting that the board make a determination tonight. I'm confident that we can get to the answer with engineering. I had a phone call with Jeremy at the end of the day. He was comfortable that we would get there. We have a couple different alternatives, whether it's proving this one catch basin, or if it's adding a catch basin, or if it's adding a throat, drop inlet, a special kind of inlet. We have all these kind of tools in our toolbox, but unfortunately, there was just some additional questions that Jeremy had and the engineering department had, and we ran out of time. The reason we're here kind of asking for closure with a conditional approval is they have a closing on April 2nd. It's for 21 out of the 23 lots, and as you can expect, it's not your standard closing. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of moving parts. This approval is instrumental in kind of getting them to the point where they're comfortable with moving forward and pursuing the closing. We would certainly address the engineering issues. We've, like I said, I think we have all the answers. Never mind that we have the stormwater plot plans that we'd be doing down the road. And if there's any issues, we'd have to come back before this board and ask for a modification. I don't think that's gonna happen. Worst comes to worst, we don't change the grading on lots 2 and 3, and we keep it the way it was designed. So there's all sorts of different options, including the do-nothing option. Unfortunately, and it was partially, we didn't get it to them till the middle end of last week. So there was some delays in getting that information, and so we just ran out of time. We also did submit a modified lot release. We had previously discussed this at the last meeting for lot 18, which is on this plan, is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. They moved it one lot to the right, lot 17. They were going through their due diligence with marketing, and that was the preferred lot. And so we're requesting that change, and we did submit updated Form J's. We're going to clarify a couple issues. I know a couple comments came in through Joe, and we would make sure that those get incorporated in just providing some additional dates on plans. Be happy to answer any questions, and Jeff from Toll Brothers is here as well.
All right, Joe?
Not a whole lot to add. Matt did a really good job breaking down what's been going on since your last meeting. I also had a conversation with Jeremy over in engineering. As Matt indicated, he does think there are some paths to get to where they need to be. There's just a couple items that need to get addressed in terms of the stormwater management and the pre-development and post-development numbers. So that's pretty much it. They've addressed the foundation drain issue. Of having that go into and discharging into the right of way. So just a couple relatively minor issues still to address. Doesn't think there's going to be an issue getting there. They just haven't come to an agreement yet.
All right. Bob?
Just one question. You mentioned they did a lot of changes. What the balance in terms of soils brought on or brought off of the site, did that change because of all those
No,
changes?
it was just their grading scheme. It was and you're talking about the changes from the Toll Brothers plan. And I just want to make sure. So their footprint was slightly larger, and I kind of just quickly discussed this at the last meeting. They put their largest footprint on, and that gives them the ability, from a marketing standpoint, to sell all of their models. And their real estate team will have the ability to fit any of the units within that footprint. So the footprint we show is the largest footprint. It will be that size or smaller. And with that came some grading in and around the units. The driveways, they updated their driveways to their standard driveways. They actually got a little bit smaller. The grading, as Joe and I forgot to mention, putting in foundation drains. That's standard for Toll Brothers to have foundation drains. And then on particular lots 2 and 3, we had maintained a depression kind of in the back middle, and their preference was to not have that depression, and so they've graded it, and that's kind of what we're the last little issue that we're dealing with is that runoff that's generated towards the entrance of Wendell Place Road or Wendell Place. But none of the clearing limits changed from, and we talked about this at the last meeting. There was a handful of little minor changes, but there was no clearing changes to the open space. There was no clearing changes to any lot that abuts a residential or an abutter to that's not part of the project. The abutters that, about the open space is where the changes were made, and it was a handful of lots, but, so there's not significant changes. There was just
Okay.
a lot of little changes. Sorry.
So two other notes. I did call Joe earlier today on this plan that we are showing right here. It did not label lot 18 in the lower left. And secondly, I think these plans are dated 12 February. In the Form J, it was referencing the plans from from 2022. So I just questioned whether or not the Form J needed to be updated, and I think they're looking into that now. And there was also a minor typo regarding the planning board concerns as opposed to concern. But, that's it.
Joan?
Okay, I have a couple concerns. In really looking at this, I still don't see any significant change. So I'm looking for where those foundation drains are going to be, you know, where those roof drains are going to be, where the structures are going to be. And I mean, I see, you know, red boxes, but I don't see how that is, engineering's concerns have really been addressed.
From, and I meant, I should have gotten into that. But, so there was kind of two issues, the foundation drains and then the runoff that was generated or directed to catch basin 3. The foundation drains, we went through and took a look at that, and if any of the foundation drains are directed either towards the wetlands or the open space, not to the right of way, there was less concern from the engineering department, and so we focused on any of the foundation drains that were directed towards the right of way, Wendell Place or Lady Constance Drive. Lady Constance Way. It's Wendell's Place, and Lady Constance always got her way. That's the naming. That's the history behind the name. But so there was a handful. There was lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 17, 18, 19, and 20, all kind of clustered on the front near Nutting Road that had foundation drains that were directed towards the right-of-ways. We modified the plans to incorporate an infiltration system, a second one that's not part of the roof drain, to capture that foundation drain. Engineering was, I think, comfortable with it. They hadn't commented. When I've spoken with them the couple times, that hasn't come up, and it seems like that issue has been addressed. The soils are really good out here. The depth of groundwater is really good. I think these foundation drains are just a factor of safety type item. I don't anticipate that these are going to be, required, for some developers may not put them in with, just due to the sandy soils that we have here. And so you don't see a lot of them. There was just a small boxes that were placed in and around, and then there was a third detail sheet that was added that kind of summarized lot 2 or more. As an example, kind of a close-up showing the foundation drain labeled, typical, and then what the design for that, if it's required on that lot, and those lots are listed on the sheet, what the details for the foundation drain were. And again, similar to what I was saying earlier, that stormwater management plot plan that we prepare, it'll be a full-size plan that shows all of this information, groundwater testing, and all the things that we do during the building permit process. So and as far as the runoff to the catch basin 3, there wasn't any changes to the plan. It's more calculations from a stormwater standpoint. We had provided some pipe calculations to show that they could have the capacity. Jeremy wanted the drain inlet gate grate capacity calculations, and so we provided that, and we were comfortable with that. But then he was noting that some of them go to different BMPs. One went to a large basin, one went for, so we wanted to make sure that we weren't taxing those. We don't. We've checked those numbers. We didn't have the time. So a lot of it was kind of data that is behind that I don't think many people read, that is not reflected on the plan per se, but it was supplemental engineering that was provided to the engineering department.
Okay, so can we go back to the plan view for a minute? So the red, your red, again, we got a black and white, so without a legend, and I don't mean to be a pain about a legend, but
Yeah,
it is
no, that's
really
all right.
difficult when you don't have a legend. So the red boxes are where you're putting these.
Two red boxes, a larger
Red
one
box,
and a
right.
smaller one.
Right.
The larger one is for the roof drain system, the smaller one's for the foundation drain.
Okay.
And then the larger red boxes are the septic system.
Design of that, or is there a better plan of that? We're releasing it just on this, or have you given engineering something more?
No, but this is not inconsistent with what was approved originally for the subdivision. So we show graphically where the septics go, but at the time this board approved the septics, there was no final septic designs.
No, I'm not talking about the septic, I'm talking about the drains.
For the roof drains.
Yeah, the roof drains and the
We showed
foundation.
graphically where those were. There wasn't a final design. For the foundation drains, we're showing them graphically. There's not a final design. That stormwater permit plan that is in your decision captures that and says, before we release this building permit, give us some more information, which is basically that sheet 2 or 3 that we have that is specific to each of the lots. It has the impervious area for the lot. It has the calculations for the roof drain and the capacity of whether it can hold it. And the same thing for the foundation drain, and if there's any changes. So the sizing that we show has the capacity. It's just demonstrating to the engineering that we haven't changed the size of the footprint. And kind of a double check, if you will, at that point in the permitting process to make sure that what we're building is what's reflected on the drainage. So there's not final design. There is final designs as far as sizing. There's not final designs with when they picked their house and the lot and all the lots, because that changes from lot to lot. So there's always going to be those kind of changes depending on what house they buy, and you know, sometimes they'll switch the driveway from a front load to a side load. In this development, I think there's less options for that. In other developments, we see that a lot more, like the Hicks development on Main Street. Wide open lots, you can flip the driveway, you can make it a front load, you can make it a side load. There's lots of different things you can do. There's a little bit, in these lots, there's not as much room. I think they're a little more fixed as far as the layout. But what will change is their footprint, and I don't know how many footprints they have, but, you know, it changes in size and what the model, so.
Right, no, sorry, maybe I didn't word my question correctly. My question was, on lot 17, that you're asking for a release.
Oh, for
have
the
you
model home.
provided, for the model home, have you provided all that
We
information?
have not done a stormwater plot plan for the model home, and I would assume they would have to get a building permit, just like anything else, so that would play out. If this board approves the release of the lot, then we would go to that next step, and we would do the stormwater plot plan with the building permit. So that gets played out during the building permit process, just like the rest of the lots.
Okay, and then just one other comment.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand that.
Okay, no, that's fine. Sorry, and then one other comment, something I think I had mentioned last time on your detail sheet. You have the interceptors you have 2 type 2s.
And I did check my notes before tonight, and I did notice that comment from last week, and we will make sure that the type, and I have to look at it, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, they're different sizes, but they're both called type 2, so obviously something is mislabeled. Not a big deal, just a nit, but when I was trying to figure out what was
Yes.
where.
One is type 3,
Yeah.
I got it. We'll make that correction, for sure.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Dylan?
Hi, thanks.
Mine isn't.
So just so that I understand, for lot 17 to be released, is lot 17 dependent on some of the stormwater system and management that's being put into lot 19 as part of its drainage, I guess, system?
Not sure I understand, like, What do you mean?
So the infiltration area that's along the roadway on lot 19.
Yep.
Does the drainage coming off of lot 17 depend upon that infrastructure in any way? And is that infrastructure being put in for the issuance of 17 in the model home? In other words, are you putting in that infiltration area on 19 as part of this lot release for 17?
Yep.
Because lot 17's drainage depends upon it.
It does. The purpose of that infiltration system along Nutting Road primarily captures the first couple hundred feet of both roads. So it is integral. Once you get further up the hill and into the development, the drainage is captured into that larger basin in the middle of the development that picks up most of the roadway drainage.
Okay. So is that infiltration system going to be installed prior to the building of the house, the model home on 17, is my question.
From a construction standpoint, high level, the drainage typically would be required to be installed and the pavement installed before any of the lots are released. There's that transitional period where you've got an undeveloped site or a developed site that's in development where you've got runoff from your gravel roads and dirt roads, and there's kind of a transitional period where you have temporary structures and basins that are put up. Infiltration basins are unique in that you don't want your runoff from dirt roads being discharged to them because they can clog them. So we would have to develop that in our construction plan and our construction schedule to make sure that we have temporary basins. And that's all worded in your decision, that during construction, the engineering department has the authority to require additional drainage to make sure that there's no runoff. And there would be no different with this lot. We would have to take measures to make sure that the runoff is not going onto Nutting Road. Whether they build that system initially, I would have to work with Toll Brothers and develop that construction period, because ideally that's not the first drainage system you build. And that a lot of times that would get built just before paving, and you would have temporary structures that are doing the heavy lifting of the runoff in the meantime. Now, obviously this site, there's gonna be a lot of challenges where both driveways are going, or both roads are going uphill, and you've got, directed towards Nutting Road, which is why engineering department has been carefully reviewing this drainage modification, and during the construction period, it would be no different.
And what do you envision the roadway surface being at the time the model home is built? Will it be at a binder course when that home is constructed, or would it still be essentially a dirt road?
I would defer to Toll Brothers, and I don't mean to put Jeff on the spot. He's kind of new to this project and getting up to speed, but.
While it's under construction,
Can you come up so they can capture you on the mic? Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
so while it's under construction, the roadway construction would be ongoing, but we wouldn't be releasing the house until after that binder is down
So it'll be dirt road, most likely.
during construction.
Yep.
Were you able to hear that, Dylan?
But I think I heard it would be a dirt road at the time that model home is built. Is that right?
But while it's during the start of it, yeah, but we would have binder down by the time we're releasing the house.
What do you
By
mean
the time people were viewing it, it would be binder course?
what
Once
do you mean release?
once it's open for marketing, once we're completing the construction.
So during construction, but while they're doing marketing, it will be a binder.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Darren?
Yeah, thank you. So, one of the things I read was, it sounds like you're initially gonna be accessing lot 17 from Nutting Road. Or are you gonna be building the first part of the road to get to that lot? It sounded to me like it was gonna be coming kind of straight up off of Nutting into this lot. Or are you actually starting the road construction up to past that lot point as you're starting to build the house?
I think they'll be going in there, clearing the site for full construction all at once. The roadways will start to commence, whether there's some kind of cuts in the entrances, installing water lines, drainage. that would all be going on kind of simultaneous. I know these guys have the ability to bring in larger crews to get things done a little bit more efficiently. But yes, that road would be cut in and quickly, you know, a loop would be developed. We would have to satisfy the fire department and make sure that there's access during construction.
Yeah. So you're not gonna have, like, for
They're
example,
not-
a temporary road going here during construction, that you'd have to worry about drainage coming down to Nutting Road.
Not that I'm aware of, unless initially they'd be coming in where the existing house is, like, just to get the tree cutting and then the crews in there, but no. They would be quickly grubbing those roads and getting those established, as part of one of the first steps, once clearing's done. And there is no plan to phase it and build, the first 8 lots and then go on to the second. Their intention is to do it all at once.
That's the clearing and
Yep.
road put in and everything.
Which is good and bad. Good, because it's more efficient. Bad, it presents some opportunities for things to, as you guys know, well, with some projects that are going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, if we can say release with contingent upon certainly engineering's final approval of, a solution here. We talked about some options here. But, as I said last time, there's a lot of interest here about the drainage. It has been through the whole process, so we want to make sure that that's covered.
And we have to have a pre-construction meeting where we provide the construction sequence.
Yep.
We have a site walk, we walk the erosion control, all those things are still gonna happen. And obviously one of the most important things, I'm sure engineering and Joe will bring up, and thank you Dylan, would be that access to that lot, to the model home, making sure that drainage, specifically in that area, is addressed. And all the conditions that are with the board's decision.
So I guess that brings the question, how does the board feel? You feel comfortable allowing the minor modifications so long as engineering approves it? Do you want them to come back? I guess I'll ask the board what they think. Bob?
I think I'm comfortable with turning over for administrative review from this point.
Let engineering just sign off on
Just
it when they're
engineering
happy.
sign off, making sure all the i's are dotted, t's are crossed.
Okay. Joni?
More a question for, Jeff and Joe, because we don't have anything written from engineering. Are they really okay with this? If they are okay, then I would be okay, but
I mean, again,
for me, I would
yeah.
not be okay.
There are still a few issues that they want to see addressed pen to paper, that Matt has alluded to. But overall, they agree in principle with what they're doing. They just need to see more information. So you want to make it a contingent upon us getting a clean letter from engineering, you could do that. If you wanted to wait and have the clean letter come to you before issuing a decision, that's your call too. But we can go either way.
Dylan?
Yeah, I think I like the suggestion that I just heard Joe say, which is even if we get it retrospectively in a packet, that we get a letter from engineering, like, where we see that they approved the modifications to the stormwater. I don't want engineering to get the impression, if we do approve this, contingent on them being okay with it, that we're sort of not interested or not concerned about the drainage on this parcel, because I think to Darren's point, we are.
Yep.
But I'm okay proceeding as long as engineering is, clear that if they have any concerns, we'd welcome
come back
having them
again.
back before us, so we could have a conversation.
Awesome. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, so
Could I
continue.
ask one question, Mike?
Sure.
What is the timing when you think these materials are gonna come back? Like a date specific?
We're hoping to get it out this week. In the next couple days, we're gonna stay on it. It's amazing how fast 2 weeks between your meetings come and go. But we can get it to engineering tomorrow. In theory, they could hopefully review it by Wednesday. I can't speak for them. I know they're very busy, but hopefully they could look at it within a couple days. They've been really good lately with getting things reviewed, so I know they get busy.
So can I ask, our next meeting here
I'm
is
just think-
April 1st.
No, but I'm thinking one possibility, I don't,
Yeah.
how many members are we gonna have present Saturday?
At least 3. Dylan, are you away? You won't be here for Saturday town meeting?
No, I should be back. I'm taking a red eye back Friday night into
Oh, that's
Saturday,
right.
so I should be there with a pillow.
Sweet.
What better way to spend your day? So,
I'm just offering up one alternative here, I mean.
Oh, we appreciate it.
I'm willing to refer it to Jeff and Joe with the administrative review, with the understanding engineering does not think we're approving this. We are waiting for their approval. But alternatively, we could receive this and have a brief discussion Saturday morning, if the other members are.
so first of all, if the board is comfortable authorizing administrative review and approval of this minor modification, subject to satisfactory review by engineering, we can certainly do that. We can certainly relay a message to engineering. This is meant to put zero pressure on you. You've got to be fully satisfied. If it's not fully satisfied, it comes back to the board. I think the applicant would be properly motivated. They have a closing coming up.
Correct.
And I'm sure they don't want to wait to an April 1st meeting. What could go wrong? But I'm sure they'd like to have their ducks in a row, so I think they would have incentive. But as long as we convey engineering has full, no pressure, they have that, and it's going to hinge on, we do have town meeting coming up, as you know, and they have a lot of last-minute things that they have to take care of, as well as all their, springtime projects. So I think the sooner you get it in, the better for everyone. And again, if there's an issue, there's no recourse probably but to come to a future meeting. So I'm sure they'll go out of their way to satisfy engineering.
I'd be in favor of that.
Okay.
No, we appreciate it.
So we get a motion to approve minor modification subject to a clean letter from engineering, conditioned upon a clean letter from engineering for 73 Nutting Wendell Place.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question first? Because again, I really need to, being the newbie, I need to be really clear. So if engineering comes back and says, we have a problem, they have to come back.
They have to come back.
Okay.
I
Sorry.
think, Mike, I'd like to make sure that we are clear that we're referring this to Jeff and Joe to ensure that in that administrative review, they ensure that engineering is clear in their full approval of this.
We're happy to make sure engineering's happy.
Sorry, is that still a motion?
Yes. A second.
Sorry.
So who made the motion?
Nobody made the motion yet.
That you did.
Okay.
You were asking.
No, he asked, is there a
He's asking,
motion?
is there a motion for such?
I will make a motion to approve the plan pending administrative review by town staff, based upon a favorable assessment by the engineering department.
Second. Motion a second. All those in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Joni?
Aye.
Dylan?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Next, we have the grant of partial lot release for lot 17 for the purpose of constructing a model home. Any further discussion on that?
Only what I've said earlier regarding the edits to Form J to make those correct. So that'll have to be handled in the motion.
We could just make it subject to town council review, if you prefer.
Town council review and that the dates on the plan are correct in the Form J, because
Joni, did you have anything else on that?
sounded to me like there's maybe additional changes to this plan taking place this week. So there's gonna be a new date that we don't know.
And again, back to engineering, are they okay with releasing?
Dylan, any further discussion on this?
Nope, I'm good.
Darren?
And we could certainly have the construction sequence specifically address lot 17.
All right, so can I get a motion to grant the partial release for lot 17 for the purpose of constructing a model home as discussed this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Joni?
Aye.
Dylan?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for working with us. And thank you, staff.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, on to our second General business item PB 2411, 174 Littleton Road, request to authorize administrative review and approval for change in use from retail sales to the general public to personal service establishment. Good evening.
Don Casano, representing Box to Burn. Requesting a change of use at 174 Littleton Road from a retail mattress store into a boxing fitness gym.
Yeah, I think, you know, we read your submissions pretty straightforward. Joe, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Nothing else to add. None of the other departments had any issues with this change of use, so.
All right, I'll go to the board with any questions. Bob?
I had one question, Joe, because I did look closely at the letter from Henry. What do we have from Henry now that it's a change of use? The letter was in January when he was saying they had to do a change of use. But typically we get advisement from Henry with his opinion.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there?
So he requests that the board consider this an administrative. Yep.
I did speak with Henry on Friday. He did give his blessings on the change of use.
Okay.
Refer to Joe to back that up.
Here, up on the screen here, I respectfully suggest that you just authorize administrative approval.
Yeah, that just was saying initiate
That's
the process, but it doesn't, I don't see his response to that request.
Well, he's asking the applicant to make the request to the board.
Correct. Oh, okay.
That's, yeah, that's how he typically puts it in his letter. That,
Well, yeah, usually he comes back to us and says, you know, the numbers are favorable, that's why I'm asking. I don't think there's any issue, I think it's, you know, pretty straightforward in terms of not a concerning business, but. So, okay.
Anything else, Bob?
No, that was my only question.
Joan?
Yeah, I have no concern with the change of use. I actually have a question, something more if engineering has looked at. This structural frame that you're putting in, are the columns actually, do they actually have footings? Or is it like a frame, a freestanding frame?
Freestanding.
It
So
is a
they're just,
freestanding frame.
Steel columns that go bolted to the floor.
Floor, okay,
And then there's a steel I-beam that goes across to another steel I-beam.
okay.
Okay, it kind of makes like a skeleton, like a square. And then the bags hold on from there.
Okay, super. Yeah, I was just concerned about, you know, how
We
that would
have,
impact other tenants if you were excavating, you
Yeah,
know, through the
no,
concrete.
no. Currently, we have the same setup at 7 Littleton Road. So we've had a gym down there for 10 years, and we have the same thing.
Super. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Dylan?
No questions.
Darren?
Nope, looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either. Look forward to seeing it open. So can I get a motion to authorize administrative review and approval for change in use from retail sales to the general public to personal service establishment for PB 2411, 174 Littleton Road?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Joni?
Aye.
Dylan?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's the expected opening date.
Dealing with Wilder is a little bit of a challenge, so probably 2 months, hopefully.
Not bad.
Now, they're not the easiest company to get through. You make requests, usually get back to you in about 2 weeks, so it's kind of a long process with them.
Summertime, thinking by summer.
Yeah, I'd say we're all ready for a building permit right now. Actually, Henry has it sitting on his desk right now, and upon this meeting, he'll grant it, so we can get started right away.
Good luck.
Awesome. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right, next we have review of minutes. We have the minutes from February 15th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Bob?
No.
Joni?
No.
Dylan?
I'm good.
Darren?
Thought it was a nice summary.
Nice summary. All right. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Joni?
Abstain. I was not there.
Oh. Dylan?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Correspondence, reports, updates. There is nothing in the packet. Joe, do we have anything else?
No, sir.
That's it.
See you Saturday morning.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, you gotta call roll call.
Bob?
Oh,
Aye.
Joni?
aye.
Dylan?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Safe travels, Dylan.
See you, Dylan.